So just when I thought I was done doing extensive research, I see these guys on TV swirling these warm balls around during the draw for the Champions League group stages, and so I said, F it, let's do another preview. So here we go. 32 teams spread out over 8 groups, 16 of whom, also known as the top 2 finishers in each group, will make the Champions League knockout rounds. Then the 8 third-place teams will go into the Europa League knockout rounds, and then finally the 8 last-place teams will go home. Sucks to be you.
Also, fun fact.
No, not you, fun fact fiend. I like doing the fun facts.
That's triple F to you, bitch. And no, you can have the boring facts that no one cares about. Anyway, fun fact. The last 2 Champions League group stage preview videos, Jimmy manager Conrad got 13 out of his 16 predictions right for which clubs were going to qualify for the knockout rounds and which ones were not. So can he improve this time around? Will he remain the same or will he get worse? That is the question.
First off, I'm not liking your tone, okay? And second, I'm not getting worse because I'm getting all 16 right this time because that's how I roll.
No, how you roll is getting 13 out of 16 right. I did my homework.
Shut up. You need to shut up. Anyway, let's get started and talk about Group A and what a group it is with Atletico Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Monaco, and Club Brugge. And we're going to start with the reigning Europa League champions Atleti first because their home stadium, the Wanda Metropolitano, I think I said that right, Metropolitano, is hosting the final this season. So you know they're going to want to be playing in that game, especially since they've lost in 2 Champions League finals in the last 5 years. And especially since they got knocked out of the group stages last season, finishing behind Roma and Chelsea. But thankfully for them, this season they go up against 3 clubs that like to attack and attack with numbers, which means Atleti can sit back against Dortmund, Monaco, and Bruges and wait for their chances on the counter, which worked to devastating effect when they did it to Real Madrid in their 4-2 win in the UEFA Super Cup last month. It's just the teams that sit back just like they do that they have the most trouble with, which is what Chelsea and Karabakh did last season in the group stages. As for Dortmund, well, first off, Atleti is going to be a stern test for them and everyone else due to their physicality and experience and talent.
However, fun fact, Dortmund playing Atleti is a great sign for the black and yellow because the last time Atleti and Dortmund faced each other in the Champions League group stages way back in 1996, Dortmund went on to win the Champions League for the first and only time in their history.
So I guess we should be handing them the trophy now based on that fun fact logic, right?
I'm just here to state the facts and nothing but the facts, so help me, Andrea Pirlo.
Well, I believe these fun facts are going to be tested because they have to get past a plucky Club Brugge who like to score goals and the club who I think will be their biggest challenger for a spot in the knockout rounds, Monaco. However, I think Dortmund's new manager, Lucien Favre, is a good luck charm in all of this because he just left Nice in France to join Dortmund, so he knows Monaco well. And so well, in fact, he has 2, not just 1, but 2 4-0 wins against them, which is crazy. 1 draw and 1 loss in the last 2 seasons. And I think that gives him a big advantage because Dortmund are better than his former team Nice, and Monaco aren't as good as they were 2 seasons ago, despite having the ageless wonder Radamel Falcao, who can single-handedly change games, so we can't count them out completely. Nor should we count out Bruges because unlike any of these other clubs in the group, they actually won their league last season, and that type of winner's mentality could really serve them well here despite the perceived jump in quality from the Belgian league to La Liga, the Bundesliga, and Liga. Anyway, on to my predictions. I'm going with Atleti first, Dortmund in second, Monaco in third, and Bruges in dead last because that perceived jump in quality is actually real, not just perceived. Sorry, Bruges. And next up, it's Group B, Barcelona, Inter Milan, PSV Eindhoven, and Tottenham, which is easily one of the groups of death of this competition, if not the deathiest. Made up a new word, because they are all really good teams, but let's keep this alphabetical and start with Barcelona first. Because they are a club whose captain Leo Messi stated publicly while addressing Barcelona supporters at the beginning of the season that they are gunning to win the Champions League this year. So it is out there. He said it, and by saying it out loud, he sent a message to everyone about where the team's focus lies. And if you add in the fact that he didn't get named as one of the finalists for the FIFA World Player of the Year award, you know he's going to be pissed and playing his ass off to prove that that should never happen again until he retires. But Inter isn't going to make Messi's goal of winning the Champions League an easy reality because it's been 6 years since they were last in this competition, and they're going to want to make it count.
Also, fun fact, Messi has scored 12 goals in 21 games against Serie A opponents, but never against Inter. So at least they've got that going for them.
But I don't think Barcelona is really who Inter should be looking to compete with for the top 2 spots because I'm just going to save everyone the suspense by stating that I feel pretty good about Barcelona going through to the knockout rounds, which means it's Inter, PSV and Spurs battling it out for that second spot, and given Spurs' penchant for sloppy seconds, I think they could be a good fit for this. Because they beat Real Madrid at Wembley in the group stages last year 3-1, thus proving they could finally be the real deal, but once they got to the knockout rounds, they had Juventus on the ropes in leg 2 at home in the round of 16 before going full Spurs, and you never want to go full Spurs. By giving up 2 goals in 3 minutes, lose 4-3 and getting knocked out. Which brings us back to Inter, because despite their slow start to this season, they definitely have the talent to get second in this group. I'm talking Icardi, Perisic, Brozovic, Nainggolan, De Vrij, Vikoko Pickles, Asamoah, Handanovic in goal. But do they have the depth? Especially since they had to leave off a few key players because they're being punished as a club for breaking some financial fair play rules, which makes their depth even weaker. So, And as for PSV, well, 2 years ago in the Champions League, they emerged from a group that included Wolfsburg and Manchester United before losing to Atletico Madrid in the round of 16 in penalties. So they've got some confidence that they can do it, plus they've got some quality, most notably in Mexican international Chucky Lozano, who in his 41 career games in all competitions for this club, he's been involved in 32 goals in all, contributing 23 goals and 9 assists. So it's going to be up to all 3 of these other clubs to try and slow him down because he is the string puller, the one making it all happen. Unfortunately, I don't think PSV have enough quality anywhere else, minus Luc de Jong and Gaston Pereira. I like both of those guys too, and they're also string pullers for PSV. So my predictions for Group B are Barcelona in first, Spurs in second, Inter in third, and PSV in fourth. Now, had Inter had a full squad at their disposal, I think I would have put them second just to piss off Spurs' supporters, but I think their lack of depth will ultimately lead them to third in the Europa League. And now let's head to Group C, which includes Red Star Belgrade, Liverpool, Napoli, and PSG, which was my initial worstest group of death, and I just came up with another new word, until I started thinking about it some more, and then I had to give that title to Group B because that one is crazy hard. But this one is still deadly because look at these teams, which makes me wonder how Red Star Belgrade is really feeling about it. Because they're finally getting back to the Champions League 26 years after their last appearance by winning the Serbian League and then surviving 3 rounds of Champions League qualifying and then a 2-legged Champions League playoff against RB Salzburg. So in some ways, it feels like they are destined to be here. Unfortunately, I think their destiny and terrific story is going to end in the group stages because given the quality of the other 3 sides, I'm not sure how many points they're going to get off anyone, especially away from home. Which leaves us with last season's Champions League finalists, an Italian side with a Champions League winning manager, and one of the richest clubs in the world who still haven't figured out a way to buy the Champions League trophy just yet, vying for only 2 spots. Now, after a terrific run to last season's final where Liverpool got Sergio Ramos and then Loris Karius into finishing in second behind champions Real Madrid, I believe it gave the owners of Liverpool a taste of what was possible, to be the kings of Europe. So they went and spent some money this summer to go get after it, especially in goal with Alisson, I don't know, who despite his tendency for taking unnecessary risks while dribbling, is a fantastic goalkeeper, while they also added Naby Keita and Fabinho and Xherdan Shaqiri, which makes the team better and deeper so they can legitimately compete in multiple competitions. And then we have Napoli, who, despite their tendency for going behind in all of their league games to start this season, which I believe shows a lack of cohesion and collective understanding of the new tactics of their new manager, Carlo Ancelotti, I believe it's only a matter of time before it all clicks. And once it does, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with because they have way too much quality in their team not to be competitive. Of course, I think I said the same thing last season in my Champions League group stage preview, and they finished third in their group behind Shakhtar Donetsk, which leaves us with PSG.
And a fun fact, because did you hear that Neymar recently named who he thinks is going to finish in the top 4 in the Premier League this season? He had City winning it, Chelsea second, United in third, and Spurs in fourth. He didn't even pick Liverpool to be in his top 4, which is weird timing for him to say this, you know, because it only serves to motivate Liverpool, not make them sad or whatever.
Also, for the record, this is less fun fact and more gossip, by the way.
But fun gossip. That's the important distinction here because I put the F in fun.
Jesus, I'm so sorry about him. Anyway, here's what I'm thinking about PSG. 1, I don't think they give a about any competition in France this season other than as an exercise to keep them sharp and fit for the only trophy they really want to win, the Champions Netherlands, which makes them very dangerous in this regard. And two, we have to talk about the emergence of Kylian Mbappe as a bona fide superstar because it makes them almost impossible to defend because they can beat you on both sides, up the middle, on crosses, set pieces, etc. I mean, they are ridiculous going forward. And three, I think this is Neymar's last season with PSG before he moves to Madrid next summer, especially now that Ronaldo has left. And I'm 100% sure he wants to win a Champions League trophy for Gigi Buffon because doesn't everyone want to see Gigi win one before he retires? I know I do. Which means, here are my predictions. PSG in first, and yes, I think they'll have more energy for this than Liverpool, who have to battle every week in the Premier League, while PSG are playing not to get hurt. So I think the Reds will finish in second. Napoli will get third and try to make a splash in the Europa League, and Red Star Belgrade will just be happy to be here. Give some waves, kiss some babies, get some autographs, switch some jerseys, and get fourth. And now it's time for a little Group D in Galatasaray, Lokomotiv Moscow, Porto, and Schalke, which is the group that will either make me look like a genius if I get my predictions right for it, or it'll make me look like a complete ass. I don't really feel like there's any in between because it's that wide open. So let's start with a team everyone wanted to draw, Lokomotiv Moscow, because they are perceived as very weak, which I'm not sure if it's in everyone else's best interest in this group to sleep on them because they won the Russian League last season for the first time in 14 years, and they also reached the round of 16 in the Europa League, where they lost to the eventual champions Atletico Madrid. So for me, this is a team on the up and up. Well, that is until you see their form for this season, where they currently sit in 8th after 6 games in their league, and that's not a good lead-in heading into European competition. So let's turn our focus to Galatasaray, who won their record 21st Turkish Super League trophy last season, but it was the first time they had done so since 2015, which booked their automatic return to the Champions League. So that had to bring some relief and confidence, which I believe will bode well for them here. Also, please keep an eye on 21-year-old Nigerian Henry Onyekuru. I think he's going to do really well for them up front in this competition. As will the duo of Andre Pereira and Vincent Abubakar for Porto, who have formed a nice partnership up top this season, which I believe will only be strengthened by the time these midweek games start happening with more frequency. Also, and as I say every single year, you can't sleep on Portuguese teams in European competitions because they always figure out a way to have success and sneak through the group stage or over 2 legs against opposition that is better than them on paper.
But fun fact, the game is not played on paper.
Yeah, I know that, okay? Also, because if it was played on paper, I think Schalke would be an automatic lock to get through to the knockout rounds. But given the fact that they have struggled to start this season in the Bundesliga, they're currently tied for last and pretty much unwatchable at the moment, I think this becomes a distraction for them because now they have to commit a lot more energy to climbing back up the table as opposed to maintaining a good position in the league while devoting the necessary energy to legitimately compete in a winnable group. Anyway, so after thinking a whole 30 seconds about this off camera, after I had all of the research in front of me, I got Porto in first, Galatasaray in second, Schalke in third, and Lokomotiv in fourth, which I hope happens. So come on, Porto and Galatasaray, bring your goddamn A games. I need these predictions to be right. And now let's head to Group B, which is inhabited by a team that Bayern Munich will definitely beat, a team that Bayern Munich will most likely beat, a team that Bayern Munich could struggle with but only away from home, and Bayern Munich themselves. And the team that Bayern will definitely beat is AEK Athens, AEK Athens, who despite winning their first Greek Super League title in 24 years last season, congrats to them on that, they still had to go through Champions League qualifying where they beat the champions of Scotland and Hungary, Celtic and Vidi respectively, to even get to this point, which I have a lot of respect for because those are 2 good teams. But now that they're here, I'm just gonna say it. They're in way over their heads, but it is cool to see them participating. Also, keep an eye on striker Ezequiel Pons. The 21-year-old Argentine is on loan from Roma, but I really like his game. I think the guy can play, so this could be a breakout competition for him. And now for the team that Bayern will most likely beat, it's Ajax.
Or maybe they won't because, fun fact, these 2 teams have met 8 times in this competition, and each club has 3 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses.
Dude, that may be true, but most of those games happened when Ajax were super good, and now they're just good. Even though they have former Bundesliga star on their team, Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, who has an incredible goal-scoring prowess in European competition. He's got a very impressive 54 goals in 93 career games in Europe, though he has actually never scored against Bayern before in 8 tries, and I don't think he'll do it here either. Which leaves us with the team that Bayern could struggle with, but only away from home, and that is Benfica because, like I said before, you can't sleep on teams from Portugal, and most of this Bayern squad knows this already because they met in the Champions League quarterfinals 2 seasons ago, and they drew 2-2 in leg 1 in Lisbon before Bayern barely beat them 1-0 in leg 2 in Munich. So this will be something that will definitely be on the minds of the Bayern players, who, by the way, have to know they are entering into the now or never parts of their career, like Arjen Robben, who is 34, and Franck Ribéry, who is 35, and Robert Lewandowski, Javi Martinez, and Jerome Boateng, who are all 30 now, and Manuel Neuer, who is 32, but then keepers can play forever, so I guess he doesn't really count. Anyway, what I wanted to say is the urgency that comes from knowing that this could be it, that this could be their last chance for them as a group to win something meaningful is a real thing. And I think Bayern will have that hunger this season, so they're easily getting first. Benfica's gonna get second, Ajax will finish in third, and AEK Athens will bring up the rear. But enough about Group E, let's talk some Group F, which includes Hoffenheim, Lyon, Manchester City, and Shakhtar Donetsk. And I'm gonna Captain Obvious this one right from the get-go by saying that Manchester City is winning this group, and no one can convince me otherwise. They have the talent, they have the experienced manager, and they have the conviction to make it happen. I watched that documentary on Amazon. Also, they bought Riyad Mahrez for a reason, and that was to make City's squad even deeper so they can position themselves to win multiple competitions. And with the re-emergence of Benjamin Mendy as one of the best left backs in the world after his serious knee injury last season, he's been like a new player for them, which makes them incredibly dangerous and versatile on both sides of the field. So in summation, the only way they don't win this group is if 6 or 7 of their players get hurt all at the same time. Which means let's talk about who I should pick to finish in second. Should I go with Hoffenheim, who are playing in their first ever Champions League group stage? Or Shakhtar Donetsk, who finished second to Manchester City in last season's group stages? Or Lyon, who show flashes of being awesome, sort of like one of their best players, Memphis Depay, but can't seem to keep up that awesomeness consistently? I don't know! And it's driving me crazy. Though, I am feeling Hoffenheim on some levels because I like the way their 31-year-old manager, Julian Nagelsmann, and his team approached the game, which is very Jurgen Klopp-esque with the high pressing, etc. And geez, actually, given how well Liverpool have done against City recently, maybe City will have a tough time with Hoffenheim. But I'm also feeling Donetsk, or should I call them Shakhtar, because of their experience from last season where they beat City in Manchester, which is no small feat, and where they only got knocked out of the round of 16 by Roma because of the away goals rule. However, I just can't see them sneaking up on their opponents this time around like maybe they did last season. So maybe Lyon is the right choice here, or not, because have you seen their current league form? 2 wins and 2 losses, which once again proves their inconsistency, and damn it. So you know what, we're gonna do it like this. Lyon is out of the running because I can't handle their moodiness. While Hoffenheim, who were in the Europa League for the first time in their history last season after getting knocked out over 2 legs 6-3 by Liverpool in the Champions League qualifying phase, got last in the Europa League group, which included Braga, Ludogorets, and Istanbul Başakşehir. And if they can't get out of that group with essentially the same core players that they have now, then there is no way that they're getting out of this one. So I'm gonna say City in first, Shakhtar Donetsk in second, Lyon third, and Hoffenheim in fourth. Wait, did we lose triple F on this one? What happened?
Sorry, man, I was hungry. Hungry to see if Pep can actually win a Champions League without Messi and his team. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I do know what you're saying, but please, just stick to the fun facts and leave the opinion stuff to me, which means it's time to chat shit and get banged about Group G, also known as the let's make this group as easy as possible for our back-to-back defending champions Real Madrid, because I'm sure they could use the help to try and win a 4th in a row and a record 14th overall, especially without Cristiano Ronaldo in their team. And guess what? That is exactly what UEFA did, because Madrid is in with last season's surprise semifinalist, Roma, Roma, Roma. And then 2 other teams that are better suited for the Europa League, CSKA Moscow and Victoria Pilsen. But out of respect for all the competitors in Group G, let's break this down.
Yeah, let's break this down fun fact style. CSKA Moscow have been knocked out of the group stages of the Champions League for 4 straight seasons.
All right, so they're out.
And fun fact, Victoria has won 3 out of the last 4 league titles in the Czech Republic.
That does nothing for me.
Well then, they too have never qualified out of the group stages.
Okay, that's better. So it's a done deal. Madrid are an easy pick thanks to UEFA, and so is Roma, if only because after selling off some of their best players like Alisson in goal and 2 of their stud midfielders and team leaders, Raja Nainggolan and Kevin Strootman, for close to 230 million euros, they spent 163 million of that to bring in some talent like Steven Nzonzi, Javier Pastore, Justin Kluivert, Robin Olsen, and Patrick Schick, among others. So they're going to be competitive, but I think the jury is still out as to whether they will actually be better than they were last season, but definitely good enough to get out of this group. So I got Madrid first, Roma second, CSKA third, and Pilsen in fourth. And finally, it's time for one of my other groups of death, though it's not as deathly as some of the others. It's the final group, Group H, which has BSC Young Boys, Juventus, Manchester United, and Valencia. And all I want to say is, this group has the best matchup of all of the group stages. It's Young Boys versus Valencia, suckers. What a gem that is going to be. And no, I'm just kidding. I'm talking Juventus versus Manchester United, because Cristiano Ronaldo is headed back to Old Trafford, and Paul Pogba is headed back to Turin, and those 2 match days are going to be awesome, and I honestly can't wait. So let's do it like this. Let's break it down with the least likely to succeed and work our way up, which means not fully grown men FC are going first, and you know what? I'm sorry. They got to change their name from Young Boys before I can take them serious. It's just a weird name. So up next, well, this is where it gets a little tricky because Valencia are a team that not only made some solid moves this summer, like picking up winger Gonzalo Guedes from PSG, I think I said that right, Jeffrey Kondogbia from Inter, who I really like, Michy Batshuayi on loan from Chelsea, and the best player in career mode history, Kevin Gameiro from Atleti. Come on, Gameiro! They're gonna be tough to beat, and I think they could earn points off of everyone in this group, especially if Jose Mourinho and United approach their 2 group stage matches against this Spanish side, like they did with another Spanish side, Sevilla, in the round of 16 last season, which were 2 of the worst Champions League games that I have ever seen. They were so hard to watch, and it actually hurts my soul to bring it up again. So I'm hopeful that Mourinho, who seems to have turned over a new leaf as Mr. Positivities these days, I can't enunciate, can keep up the positivity over these next few months while also continuing to put his team in a more attacking formation, which allows his players to actually play and be free. And when they look like they're having a good time, then we're having a good time watching. So I'm praying and hoping that our Lord and Savior Andrea Pirlo makes it so. And speaking of Pirlo, let's talk about his former club Juventus, who have made it abundantly clear that even though winning the Scudetto for the 100th consecutive time would be cool, they only have one thing on their mind, and that is winning this competition, which was made evident by them signing the biggest name of the summer, Cristiano Ronaldo, which was a surprise, I think, to most everyone. But they weren't done there. They also finalized Douglas Costa's move from Bayern, so he's no longer on loan from the Bavarian Giants. And they picked up outside back João Cancelo from Valencia, who I like a lot. And they got emotional leader Leo Bonucci to return from his 1-season stint in Milan. And they got Emre Can on a free transfer from Liverpool. So in short, this team is stacked, and stacked enough to win this group. But I do worry about their goalkeeping situation because I don't think Szczesny is a guy that can lead a team to the promised land. He makes way too many mistakes, so it's a shame that Buffon left because they could really use him right now, and maybe he wouldn't have left if he knew that Ronaldo was going to be coming in. Anyway, Juve's finishing in first. I want to say Valencia in second, but since they haven't gotten off to a good start this season with all of their new additions, I'm not feeling as good about them. Plus, Mourinho is a master at this competition, so I'm going to go with United in second, Valencia in third, and Young Boys in dead last. So that is it. That is all I got, so thank you for watching.
Also, fun fact, don't forget to subscribe while also telling your friends to subscribe so that Jimmy Conrad can catch up to his friends Spencer FC and the True Geordie.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Thank you. And yeah, that's all I got except for this. I cannot wait to get all 16 of my picks right this time around. Let's go! Yes! Cannot wait to rub it in your faces when I'm perfect. It's gonna be great. Okay, I'm leaving. Later.